What is the actual value of a plugin? And how does this compare with analog gear? What kind of deal do I have with FabFilter? All those questions are going to be answered today in the video. And I'm not doing this alone, of course. I'm doing this together with Dan, who is known on YouTube as The Lonely Rocker. And basically what we did a few months ago, we set up a Skype call. And this video is basically the conversation that we had on that Skype call. Now, the Skype call was, of course, longer. And the other part of this video is up on his channel. So check it out. I'll link it down below. And with that being said, let's dive into it.
If I get a free plugin and I'm asked to review it, I make it very clear I can't feed my kids a plugin. It doesn't make my life any better. I mean, just, I said this plugin is great because I got it for free. Well, actually, it's not the case. I mean, my policy, and actually something I was going to ask you, when I started doing reviews, I decided that my channel is sort of more of positive thing. I'm not here to, because I know honesty is what it is. You can bash a plugin, and I know like your snake oil, you just sort of go in cold, and your sort of first impression, you either like it or you don't, but you always encourage people to try it themselves, right?
Yeah, important, very important.
What I decided to do is I would invest a little time in the plugin first. If I like it and I would use it myself, then I featured it in a review. I'm starting to change that a little bit. I have a new series I just started. I'm about 2 segments in now where the concept is, will I use it or not? I call it plug in, plug out. So now I'm going to be a little bit more constructive about it, but I still will give it a couple hours or an hour before I roll camera. So I understand the plugin a little bit. But viewers should understand that, getting a free plugin that maybe costs $100 or whatever, there's no financial benefit to do that review just because you got the plugin for free.
And honestly,
the company did it because they want some content, but my opinion is my opinion, and whether I say I like it or not, I'm not feeding my kids because of that 10 hours I spent on that video.
no, but that's the exact. Well, I don't have those issues with the companies that they do not understand that, but that's also because I'm completely separating my financials from all types of companies that could, in some way, influence the content. So, of course, it's. I don't know if that starts at a certain channel size, but I can literally type an email. Sounds a bit arrogant, sorry for that, but I can literally type an email to every single company, say like, hey, I want to review your stuff, and like software company, and they will just send me a license. It's called an NFR license for the viewers. It's not for resale. Most of those licenses on iLok are also protected and stuff, so I only can use them. Sometimes they're time limited or whatever, but I can get full access to the plugin. But and I do actually also get a lot of cold emails from all those companies with like, hey, I've got a license for you with the license key already in the email. Like, we want you to review our plugin. Here's the license keys. They're giving it away for free to us. And what and you'll see this in my videos, I don't always succeed. Sometimes I do need the license or whatever, or the trial is only 14 days. I already installed it, and then the trial already expired, and then I need the license. But I always try to run the trial of the software, because there's an interesting video that I shot with one of those trials that mutes every 5 seconds. I find that a very interesting part of the content, because now all of a sudden, because the trial is actually has such big limitations, that I'm going to run the full version, and then you really need to value my opinion, and you can't try it yourself, and that trying it yourself is a very important part. So with snake oil, I'm really testing it like you can test it yourself with the trial version. So I deliberately always try to use the trial version. I try to do it. Sometimes I have to use the full version for whatever reason. But 90% of the plugins that I review, I do get a license for, and some plugins I never get a license for anymore. Like some brands I don't get a license for anymore because they do not agree with my video. And
you were too honest.
It's okay, of course, but it's I'm
in the same boat. I mean, plugins. Let's face it. For a software company to give you a license, it costs them exactly $0.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Plugins are printing money. I did a great review Fuse Audio Labs, Raymond Drotwa, he's actually a very well-known plugin developer. Used to develop for Brainworks.
Yeah.
The Acme Opticom compressor, things like Phil's Cascade. These some really nice known titles on Plugin Alliance's catalog. So he started his own company a couple years ago called Fuse Audio Labs, and I've gotten to know him, and he's just regarded as a genius in his circles. He's, people love his stuff. So I've gotten to know him, and I actually did a video interview with him. It's an episode on my channel, and we talked about the value of a plugin. Like, what is a plugin actually worth? And it's not like a piece of hardware that, if the company goes tits up, someone else could fix that compressor 20 years down the line, right? There's a value there. Whereas a plugin,
that's another one. Yeah.
If a developer decides to pack it in or start selling toasters instead of making plugins, well, guess what? Your license is going to die. As soon as Mac goes to Big Sur, as they are now, whatever, and it invalidates the plugin.
I think that's one of the I'm not going to call out names right now, but I know a few companies that see like a pile of cash laying. Honestly, there are always two perspectives of this. Like, if you sell plugins for a lot of money, I think you should support them for a long time. That's my opinion. But on the other hand, if you need to reprogram it, that is actually where the costs are. I think you should not only look at it from the perspective of like, okay, is it okay for them to do that or not, but also from your own perspective. I always say like, hey, I have a lot of analog gear. It goes like there's a voltage, AC voltage going in, and AC voltage coming out in the form of audio. And this was the same 50 years ago. Like, that is not going to change those standards. And software is just like, it is valueless at the moment that you purchase it. And that's not the case with like analog gear. Really, it's not even depreciating, or slowly depreciating.
I often say we rent plugins, we don't buy them, and I went nuts.
That's a good one.
When I first got into this, as we've discussed, my background is video, and I've been recording my own songs at home for many years. But I started taking the home studio concept seriously about 3-4 years ago. And I went crazy with those $29 plugin sales. I bought a ton of plugins, and I honestly don't use most of them. I found some favorites out of that, and I learned the hard way, and it was maybe it was sort of my schooling to get my hands on different types of software. But I look at all those plugins, and they're valueless because some of those, they've gone to newer versions. They still work, but at some point they won't, and there's a yearly license that I'd have to pay to keep them up, and I know at some point I'm going to lose them because I don't really use them anymore, so why would I pay for them? Whereas I've noticed some other companies, they just perpetually keep working, and they update them, and they don't charge me for it. I paid good money for them 2 years ago, and they've updated them a few times, and I appreciate that. If it's a brand new plugin or a new feature, something that's and this is sort of goes back to that conversation I had with Ray. I mean, obviously, a plugin developers, their cost structure, it's labor, time, development, and that costs money. I've actually been involved in some web development projects and stuff. It's a heavy lift. And I respect the time and effort people put in, but at some point, like, you keep coming back and grabbing money for the same product without really, we changed the interface. Okay, you need to pay $200 to keep your license going. It's like, screw that. That's not fair. Yeah. If you give me a whole new module that I didn't have before, new functionality, absolutely, I want to pay for that. That's worth it. And some companies get that, and some don't.
And what what do you think then of subscription models for software?
That's a very good question. We talked about that because I know Slate probably started that model, and I know Plugin Alliance, they have a subscription model now. I think it depends what you're doing.
Exactly.
If you are in the business of making music, and you have overhead, you have costs, it's just a write-off, and honestly, I think they're Plugin Alliance, and I have no affiliation with Plugin Alliance, but they're very fair with their subscriptions, and they actually give you cash back to buy plugins. So I think that's a cool concept. So in that case, I think it's pretty cool. And you're just now, if you have a subscription and you discontinue it, and then a year later you got to do a recall, and now you don't own the plugin, that becomes a problem. But it is what it is. use less plugins, and you won't have that problem all the time.
Yeah.
So
that's one of my biggest advices actually. Like use less. Really have a small bundle of tools that you always use. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a friend who's he's been. He'll appreciate I mentioned him here, but he always listened to my mixes, and he came from audio school and stuff, and he's really into it. So he's been following my channel, and I bounce my mixes off of him. And when they were really shitty too, like they got a little better and a little better, a little better. And he actually said to me, because he saw me buying all these plugins, I said, "Oh, look what I got! Look what I got!" He says, "You know what? One day you're going to probably not use most of those. You'll probably have a handful that you use, and that's it." And he was right, because now I have maybe 10, 15 tops. There's probably like 5 that I use all the time. And then, there's a handful of other ones that come in and out, and that's it. There's a lot of them that I haven't touched in years, and I'll just probably let the licenses lapse at some point. I don't use them.
I have to say, like there are rarely plugins that make it into my like daily use toolkit from the snake oil videos. Even though that I like the plugin, but I'm like, yeah, but it's still going to be redundant then in my bundle, and I just when making it smaller, your bundle, like the amount of plugins that you're using, it is you're really going to dive into that plugin. And one of the reasons why I like FabFilter so much is because there is a lot of opportunity to dive in there, and they can do almost everything, and they're easy to control. Like it's all those things together made me decide to have like, okay, that's the bundle that I want. It's also a Dutch company, although I do not have very well. I'm not. The contact with them is not great between me and FabFilter. That's. I'm not sure.
It's strange. You've been tooting their horn for years now.
Yeah, but that's. I mean, it's still like I'm always. As I say in my videos, I always try to separate myself and the companies, and of course I like their stuff, so I'm saying that out loud. But the relationship that I have with FabFilter is not great. It could have been better. Let's just rephrase it. It could have been better. And
should have been better, I'll say.
Yeah, well, on one side, yes, but on the other side, they don't need me. I mean, their products sell themselves. So I understand that.
Honestly, I that every company, I don't care how successful they are, and I will go on record because I've reviewed a couple of FabFilters, and I did get a couple NFRs for them.
Yeah.
And I had a small contact with them. I did a review for them, and then I asked if they would share it on Facebook, and they told me our company policy is not to share third-party reviews. And I'm like, okay. And there's a bit of an arrogance there. Now, they are, and I have also said on my channel, and again, I have no affiliation with FabFilter, they are probably, if not probably one of the top 2 or 3 plugin developers out there right now. They make some quality stuff, and they're one of the few plugin developers that can charge 3 figures a plugin and still get it. Now, I don't know how many they sell, but judging by their Emmys that they've won, they're a very, very successful company. But digital technology, social media, all of that, it's a very fickle game, and I don't think any company should take that for granted. You've been a champion, you've been a brand ambassador for FabFilter in a genuine sense, because people perceive you to be a little too harsh, and you're keep going back. And as someone who's been watching your channel for as long as I have, I can say genuinely, you've been a brand ambassador for FabFilter, and the fact that they haven't acknowledged that, I think is a crying shame, because they should, and they shouldn't take it for granted, because guys like you are going to help them sell more plugins.
But on the other hand, I mean, I'm also an ambassador for Apple products. Like you see them all around, and I'm very positive about their company. But I also do this with FabFilter. If there's something that is not working, I say it out loud. I do that with Apple as well. But they're also not approaching me, of course. Or even acknowledging me. So it's kind of
Apple,
two ways.
Apple,
like,
I mean,
but
they're the biggest company in the world. They might be the one exception.
Of course. But FabFilter is one of the biggest companies. Might be one of the biggest plugin companies in the world. So it's kind of a fair comparison. And I was a bit frustrated in the beginning with this, also because it gave me a few issues with. The video creation, that kind of stuff. I want to be on time with my reviews and stuff. Like if they release a plugin, I want to have the review ready as quickly as possible. And if you communicate about that, then I can prepare. I can even like block a day in my schedule on the day that the plugin is released. I don't even want to have like early access. Of course, if they can give it, great. FabFilter doesn't do that. So, but there's been a lot of struggle and. What is interesting, so I don't want to like completely burn them, because whenever there's a new product, like 8 o'clock in the morning over here, because FabFilter is a Dutch company, so 8 o'clock in the morning, the NFR, like the license is ready in my account. Like that's how supportive they are. So it's not that they're not supporting at all, but it's just communicating and stuff. It's very tough as an influencer. On the other hand, if you need technical support or whatever, which I also needed a few times, they're super quick on that. So. You know, it's a great company. Let's just say that. But everybody that thinks that I'm being sponsored by FabFilter or whatever, well, you also know FabFilter is not that type of company. Like, it's.
They told me they're not. We don't share third-party reviews on our Facebook page. That's a company policy.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
And that is where I'm going to end this segment. We actually have a bit more footage, so if you guys like it, let me know that in the comments below, and we might make another one of these videos. Now, I want to give a huge shout out and thanks to Dan for helping me with this video. So yeah, check out his channel. Don't forget to subscribe. He makes great quality videos. Actually, the quality of his videos is way higher than my videos. So check it out. He's linked below, of course. Now, if you're new to the channel, you came in through the video of Dan, consider subscribing. Check out my channel. I have a lot of stuff going on there. So yeah, if you're already a regular viewer and are wondering like, hey, how can I help the YC Studio channel? Well, there are a lot of ways. They're all linked below, but highlighting a few, I sell merchandise, I have an affiliate link, I have a Patreon campaign, so you can check that one out. It gives early access and all that type of good stuff. And of course, I have more videos, which is one of the best ways to support your creator. So keep on watching them. I'll link one of them over here. Now, thanks a lot for watching this one. Keep pushing, and bye-bye. That shadow on my face is weird when I do this.